All right, so I want to go back to now. I want to go back into what was a thorny issue for quite a while, which is the Minister Max Cuffie, the Honourable Minister Max Cuffie is here. He is the Minister of Public Administration and Communications. Talking about communications, recently we just got out of that, and a lot of people said that the message was not clear to them. They said that the information didn't get to them clearly. Are you satisfied that your ministry is doing what you, as a broadcast, as a journalist, one who has been in this business a long time ago, what you would like see done with it? Do you have a long way to go before you start seeing achievement of the goals the way you foresee it, or is the ministry doing exactly the way you had it planned out?
Well,
or close to?
No, and we get back to the original question. Now, remember, I told you every ministry is responsible for its individual communications. So in terms of that would be the Minister of Finance. And I think the Minister of Finance did a good job in terms of articulating why the change was made and how it was going to be made. I saw full-page advertisement from the ministry. I also saw the Ministry of Trade, which is responsible for consumer affairs, placing advertisement on prices and how it was working. And so I think, from where I sit, there was a lot of communication from the government, from the Ministry of Finance, from the Ministry of Trade, in terms of how the VAT was operating. Now, but I am also here to listen, and whenever people say, "Well, I need more information," I communicate that to the respective ministries. So I say the Ministry of Finance, I think, we need to let people know more about this, or the Ministry of Trade, and there's constant communication. So while what you say may have been true at the beginning, I think by the time it got on, the ministers were communicating more about how it was going.
So just that I be very clear, I normally would blame something like this on the fact that I had no coffee, the fact that my notes, I left all of them at home. I would blame it on a lot of things. This morning, I just blame it simply on the fact that I'm slow. So just to be clear for slow folks like myself, each ministry has its own department.
Yes.
We understand its own communication department.
Yeah.
And are we to expect that your communication ministry, outside of articulating the government overall wider, bigger picture, are we to expect that you augment these communication divisions?
Yes.
Right, so it is not wrong of us to come to you a couple of times.
It's not. It's not. And when people come to me, and I get it all the time, I would say, we can talk, because we are colleagues, we work together. So I'd say to the Minister of Finance, this is what people are asking, and that conversation occurred during VAT, during all the other things, and he would ramp up his communications, and but it is his responsibility. It is his portfolio responsibility to do that.
It is a very big ministry that you had communications generally. Now you've got a merged ministry going on there, public administration and communications. I do not envy you. I do, however, feel sometimes not. I do, however, let me period and move on. Sometimes I am chagrined at best when something happened yesterday.
Yeah.
There is a press conference today, and you're saying I need to check into that. And I'll tell you why. No, we're not all supposed to know everything, but I feel all these communication departments need to get to the communication ministry and say what happened yesterday. And sometimes when I hear you put in the position of saying I need to check, I go like, so where are these guys? Why didn't they communicate with my communications minister? I mean, what's up with that?
No, I can understand what they're saying. I'll give you a good example. That happens on, let's say, we're holding postcard on Tuesday. Now, the cabinet process is that, the postcard starts at 9, you read your cabinet notes before. So you consume it preparing for cabinet, you go in, you do it. And then as the communications minister, somebody asked me something that happened this morning. While I've been in cabinet, you have no access to your phones, or you are totally divorced from everything that's happening outside. And then you come out and you ask questions.
But you see, here's the thing, Mr. Minister. We know you. We know you as a journalist.
Yeah.
We know you in the business. We know you understand what you're about. When I get these things, I go like, all right, so let's postpone the press briefing by 15 minutes. Hey guys, you all got anything to tell me? So when I get out here, I at least can go somewhere, because it is not for competence. We are all very clear on that. What it is for is sometimes I get the feeling these departments are not communicating, and the reason for that, the reason why it's such a big deal to me, is because in the absence of an immediate response, I get the same thing I said earlier in the conversation. These people coming out of the woodworks giving me their version, and what they're doing instead is controlling the narrative. And when you have people controlling your narrative, I like, hello.
Yeah, well, you know, I got into problems for saying that I will not make comments based on what the opposition said at a post-cabinet press conference.
Yes,
but,
I remember.
But it's for the very same reason that you're saying, you know. In the first place, I don't like to respond to second-hand information. I don't like to respond to somebody telling me that somebody has said. You know, I like to hear what was said, because I know people are misquoted, comments are misconstrued, and so I need to get the full facts before I respond.
Oh, we cherry pick what we want to ask you.
Sometimes I'd say, well, okay, there are two things. One, if it's a question on a particular ministry, I would defer to the minister and ask you to check him, because that allows you to get first-hand information.
Gotcha.
And the second thing, I generally don't like to respond to second-hand information on what somebody else has said, or even an interpretation of someone else's comments. I prefer to talk about what I know.
Honorable Maxie Cuffie, I want to do a sort of summary of what we talked about this morning. One is that within a month or so,
yes,
we'll have the website up and running.
It will be before that. But
yes. Well, that's always good. Put a long mark out than to shortcome. And I'm not too sure if I got the answer from you as to your comfort level with where your ministry is now. Communications, what is being done there. Media folks going a lazy route, or are they coming?
I know I did. It's a learning process. We operate differently from the last administration, and there needs to a learning curve on both sides. Having said that, I think we have a job to do. I certainly have a job to do, and I facilitate the media in any way that I can. In terms of the communications machinery, we are going through a major change. We looking at the role of Government Information Services Limited, Government Information Services Division, and the Caribbean New Media Network, and we are trying to position all the government information machinery into something that is more effective. And I personally would have liked it to be the process to be completed sooner, but you know we well on our way in terms of that.
Little inside peeve in conclusion. Little inside peeve is as far as a body monitoring content on terrestrial or conventional media, radio and television. You see as having a more vibrant group that will be doing that in the future?
Well, the broadcast policy speaks to that. What we need to do is to get it into law, and the consultations have been had. I think there's broad agreement on what it should do and how it should operate. We just need to take it to Parliament, and you know that will happen sometime soon.
Because looking at even the recent occurrence, which I'm not going to ask you to comment with, but like a bad lawyer, I'll put it in anyway. Because one of the recent things we had is where part of a story was doctored or edited, and yet it was broadcast, and I have not heard any thing coming out of it. That bothers me. This involved the officer who runs the TV program. Enough said. Honorable.
But you know, you see, in terms of that kind of content, the media has to regulate itself, and you will see consumers have a decision to make. Some things can be left up to the law, the Telecommunications Authority, But there are things where, you as a viewer, a listener, you make your own determination.
Good enough. I keep almost every turn I take. Good morning, TC. Just about every turn I take, somebody say you got to leave it to the market. The market will determine. Let the market decide. Let the consumer use the power that's in their hands to do it. I guess maybe I'm too governmentally inclined. I told you I should not have read that Castro book. Anyway, Minister Maxie Cuffie, thank you so much for taking the time this morning.
And thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being with the pleasurable Spicean.
It has been a pleasure being with you, sir. So thank you so very much for being here this morning and taking of your time this Sunday morning. Okay, I will be knocking at your door, as you know, pretty often. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you.